Well, hello, bienvenidos, bonjour,
Oh,
welcome.
thought you'd set yourself up for a language lesson there.
Yeah, I think that's the extent of my greetings. Guten, I don't know the afternoon bit in German. Tag. Hello, everyone. It's Steve and Phil, which is why the seriousness has been dialed down today.
Yeah.
We're at the end of a hard day here in the studio because we've been working really hard on a new course, a free course.
Yeah.
And it's coming out next week. What's it called, Steve?
Well, we've got the band back together. That's the most exciting thing.
Yeah, forget Oasis.
Working together on some training in the studio for the first time in a long time.
And it is called?
It's called Back to Basics, Classic DJing on Modern Gear.
It's exciting because we haven't done anything like this for a little while.
And it's two old geezers
Yeah.
making training for old folks.
Yeah, we're reminiscing. No, it is classic DJing, but done on modern gear. We've been playing with this RX3 just because it's a pretty good example of a modern piece of DJ gear. But we've also had the record decks out, and yeah, we've had a lot of fun.
And some vinyl,
some vinyl.
some CDs.
It's all coming next week. So we thought, because we're in the studio together, and because we're talking about classics, so we've been playing like Robin S. and old deep dish records, and well, you'll see. So it's going to be fun. But as part of the research for this, we asked,
We did.
kind of in a throwaway way, on our Facebook community, we just said, you know, if you're over 40, what do you miss
Yeah.
about DJing the old way? Oh my God. What
Yeah.
did we unleash?
Well, we asked this question on our Facebook page. DJs over 40, what's one thing you miss about how DJing was done back in the day?
As you can see, when did this go live? A couple of days ago. We got 1,500 comments down here
Yeah.
on this. It really has touched a nerve with people in a good way. And so what we thought we'd do today, because not everyone's over on Facebook, is ask the same question here.
Yeah.
If you're over 40, or maybe not quite 40, but you know, you've got 20 years in this clubbing game, what do you miss about how DJing was done back in the day for you? In the next half hour or so, we're going to talk through some of the answers that were given there, but really this is about you telling us here live, and we will share some of the things that you've got to say. And I can see they're coming in already.
Yeah.
What have we got?
Okay, so just hi to Isomatic and Kesha, and who else we've got? Mixmaster G here as always. The Ruckus, good to see you here. Okay, so
Stu's got one there immediately. Getting old white labels from record shops, often years, but yeah, it was often years before the
yeah,
initial.
should we do ours?
Yeah, why not? Why not? While we're letting people type theirs, why don't we do
yeah.
ours?
So remember the question that that we want you to answer here. One thing that you miss about how DJing was done back in the day, even if you don't do much DJing yourself, it might just been a way that other DJs used to play back in the day that you wish it was still like,
Yeah.
or you miss. Put that in the questions and we'll come to you. But Phil, what's
What do I
yours?
miss? I miss the danger of DJing on
While
old-fashioned.
drunk. Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah, to DJ while drunk and half blind. There are stories, Steve, but
Yes.
maybe it's at
Yeah.
another time. I miss the danger of DJing on vinyl. I miss the danger of all analog and no stabilizer wheels on the bike, if you like. I know this because I've got a little vinyl setup at home that it's kind of an unwinding setup. And I realised that while modern DJing is great in a million ways, one thing it isn't so good for is that idea that something could go wrong at any minute. So for me, playing a great DJ set with vinyl when, you know, the decks could skip in the middle of a beat mix, or there could be dust on the needle, or you could put the wrong track on and there's nothing you can do about it because you've only got two turntables and it's already playing, you know. You'd get to the end of a perfect set and it would be like getting to the end of a flawless round on a video game, right? You haven't lost any lives, you haven't done anything stupid. It was a rarity. And so to get that feeling of accomplishment when everything went well,
Yeah.
it's the best. And now it's the opposite. Now it's like rare to make a mistake. And while all of this is good, that is what I miss. You know, I do miss the danger of DJing, the danger of something going wrong, and it often did.
And of course, you can still DJ like that on modern gear. You can take all the stabilizer wheels
Indeed,
off.
we're going to do
what we've been covering in this
We're going to do exactly that next week in this free training. But yeah, that was exciting for sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Steve? What do you miss?
For me, I'm going to not talk about technology. I'm going to talk about music. And really, it was the kind of the hunt for music, which was two parts to it really. First of all was hearing something, usually on a mixtape. So me and my buddy, I remember us driving around London, listening to Tony Humphries, famous New York DJ, mixtapes, and going to every record shop in London with these cassettes, playing them and saying, have you got this tune? Have you got this tune? You know, trying to identify what the tracks were, trying to find them. It was difficult. There was no Shazam. You know, the Shazam was the dude who worked behind the counter in the record shop, right?
Yeah.
And this was quite, you know, this was fun, and it made it feel much more special when you found these tunes. I remember the classic house record called Someday by C.C. Rogers. It was as rare as anything in London, and there was a day where word went round that there was a shipment of C.C. Rogers in the stores, and it was basically everyone going out and trying to get their copy. And I remember the excitement of getting that copy. You don't have that excitement about getting hold of music anymore. And another part of the hunt for me was finding gems. So I would go to second-hand record shops a lot and look for anything that had an a cappella on it, to be able to do creative mixing, because I knew that a cappellas, even back then 30 years ago, were like, you know, the key for me to creative mixing, to mix over another track and create something that nobody had heard before. And I think with all music available to all people now, and even Stems making a cappellas of everything available to everyone, I do kind of miss that a little bit. Having said that, you know, how it is today is also brilliant because you can get everything instantly. So it's not to say that it's all bad today, but I do miss the hunt for music like that.
It's funny, as you said I miss the hunt. I saw on the screen, the Ruckus had written exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
He literally, I saw it flash past, I miss the hunt. You know, this idea of hunting for tunes definitely seems to be a big one.
Yeah.
So let's go grab something from that original Facebook post then and see if we can find something. Let's spin the wheel of justice. And there's a nostalgic reference if anyone remembers. We are spinning the wheel here. We're just going to see where we land.
Okay, so with 1,500 comments to choose from, we're just going to randomly scroll up and down and let's hope it's a positive one. Okay. Rob says a lot less requests when you only had one crate of records to choose from. These days, everyone with a phone thinks they're a music expert.
Oh, yeah, we've heard this one. So the interesting thing here, of course, is no headphone socket on phones has kind of saved the modern DJ from this, because people used to shove a phone in your face and say, well, I've got it on here, plug your lead in. And you'd be like, oh, shit, I've got to plug my lead in. At least now there's no headphone socket. And then what happens? Manufacturers, not on this one, but on some modern gear, they go and put a bloody Bluetooth, Bluetooth on it. So
it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Too many Bluetooth devices in this club. We can't do it. Sorry. But yeah, no, very true.
So thank you for that, Rob. Should we spin the wheel of justice?
Yeah.
Okay. Where should we stop? You say stop.
See how fast the wheel turns. Right. Where are we?
Okay. Roman says, I can't drink and party all the time like I used to. This is what I miss the most.
Someone else wrote, I was single and unmarried back then. So yeah, the personal things change. Your situations change for sure.
So let's just go with one near there. With Tino says, I felt more comfortable and confident that my audience would be in tune to my song selection. So I guess this is the audiences that used to go to clubs, say 20 years ago, were, I would say, probably a bit more open-minded to being educated there, to knowing that they were going to hear new music, and it was the DJ's job to kind of introduce them to new music. And I think it sort of comes into that last comment as well, where, now people are like, this is the tune I want to hear, and you're not a DJ unless you're playing my tune.
Yeah.
It's, I can understand that, but that must be really frustrating.
Yeah. There was a sense of everyone turning up together, everyone having the peak of their night together, and everyone going home at the end together kind of thing. There was this that maybe's been missing. So let me tell you a story. Leave it there, please, just for a second.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you a story. When I was 21, listening to the radio in Manchester in England, there was a band called 808 State who had a radio show. Now, 808 State were street lads. Yeah, they were street lads. Their music was very sophisticated.
In Manchester, right?
But they were street lads.
Yeah.
And they quite often had a phone in. So they're playing like rave music and they had a phone in. And they'd basically say, we've got to take this off air. And then they'd play a record and they'd come back and they were all giggling about whatever had been said. because, like I say, it was, you know, they were street lads. And there's a comment on the screen here that I'm going to show Steve, and you are not going to get to see, because I know this dude, and he's a dude. But look what he wrote there.
I'm not going to read this out, no?
No, I don't think you are, no.
Okay, right.
No,
Good.
so that's funny. Sorry, everyone.
I'm sure that's brilliant for the viewers. So basically, you'll be able to watch back.
Of course you will. Of course you will. It was on the screen before I took it off.
Okay.
So there you go, if you really want to. Right, so let's go back to let's do one more spin of the Wheel of Justice, and then we'll go back to the live comments here. So another quick spin. Proper spin, or are you going to pick one by hand? Come on, let's spin it.
Okay, all right.
Spin it.
Yeah, I was being too discerning there. All right,
Say
let's
stop.
go. Stop.
Eric.
Nothing really. Today's technology makes things so much faster and lighter. The Rain Performer is something I've waited years for my style of spinning, and it really gives me the old school feel of vinyl, but using today's latest technology.
Wow.
So inadvertently there, Eric has said, what I miss about the old way of DJing is the vinyl feel. Because the Rain Performer as a controller, which has got motorised jog wheels that feel like it did back in the day, that's the missing link for Eric there.
Yeah.
To sort of make the connection between how he used to DJ and how he wants to DJ today. So,
Cool.
so yeah, good one, Eric.
Right, let's go to live comments and see what people are saying there.
Okay, so how do you manage all these live comments coming in?
I just look for something that looks interesting. Like, for instance, DJ C Wide, who says, the hunt isn't over. It might all be digital for me now, but I still spend a lot of time digging for those special stroke new tunes. That gives me that little tingling sensation that I need to force down people's throats. Yeah, they are still there. You can still be the first on something, I think. It's still possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think another thing that I miss is residencies. So anyone who's had a residency, and they've kind of died out, haven't they? Because clubs don't really do their thing every week anymore. You could really break tunes in residencies. You could play music for people, and they'd come back week after week. And so you could play a tune one week and it wasn't really big, and the next week it was building. By the time you played it the third week, everyone loved it, and they were thinking, you've made me like that tune because I've come for the last 3 weeks and you've DJed for the last 3 weeks. And because residencies aren't really so much a thing in a lot of places anymore, I think that's been lost a bit. With DJs who play guest slots, you don't get that regular crowd that you
to build that relationship over time. Okay, so we've got Easy DJ here.
So over on YouTube. Hello, Easy DJ.
Says, I miss the physical limits of how many tunes were in the bag.
That's about a bag of the tunes.
Yep. So, this is a mistake that people, a trap that people can fall into with digital, which is that, you've got all of the world's music available to you. So suddenly you start collecting tons and tons of music. And you lose then something that was really important about putting together DJ sets, which has actually been picked up on here, which is that if you were going to DJ for a couple of hours, you would probably take 1 or 2 crates of records with you, and that would be a finite amount, say 80 or 100 records, something like that. When you turned up at that club, that's what you were playing from. So you had to think very carefully about putting this crate together. It's the reason why they're called crates in Serato, by the way.
Yeah.
And now you can still do that. I mean, we teach that in all of our training. You still should prepare a crate. Even though you've got millions of tracks to choose from, prepare a crate, which is usually around twice the amount of music that you're going to need for the amount of time that you're DJing. Plan it out. Don't necessarily plan the order, but limit yourself by this crate. You can still achieve the same thing, but without carrying a heavy record bag.
And you'd know your records very well because of that. But also, if someone said to you, you'd played your set, right? And you played your crate, and someone said, can you play again later? You'd be thinking, what haven't I played? What have I got on the B-sides? And you'd actually you'd know your songs so well, you could plan set 2 without even opening that box again. Because when you only had 80 or 100 songs, you knew every single track in there very, very well. Well, I don't know about you, but one of the things I used to enjoy doing was when we were going around our friends' houses to DJ, I'd often say, you play a set out of my crate.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then I'd be like, what? I've got this. I own this, because they're just going for different mixes, and you don't realise, even when you're limiting your music, you end up going to the same places all the time.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's when you're limiting your music.
Yeah.
So when you're not, you're missing 95%. Really, let's be truthful. So I think you're right.
Okay, there was another one here.
There's more than
Surely
one
I,
there.
so
Yeah.
DJ C Wire, this is on Twitch, says, surely I miss the record shops as well. I was not DJing back then, but used to spend hours flipping through record CDs, seeing if I could find something awesome, not played everywhere.
So quite often, if you're looking through records, you know, you'd have this kind of like this unspoken list in the back of your head, like, is the cover, has it got like anything to do with space on it, like a spaceman or some stars or that's probably worth a listen. And you know, you have this kind of like, you have this visual thing going on, which you don't get anymore, of course, as you were looking for random stuff.
Another one from Twitch. This is Mach21 Music. I went a bit German there, Mach. And part of that, I miss DJs letting tracks breathe and flow and tell their story. Nowadays, everyone is chopping and mashing the hell out of everything, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, they are. But are they? That's the truth. Are they? It depends where you look. I was telling Steve earlier on today, I was just on YouTube the other day and I saw Chicane, who's one of my favourite artists from back in the day, doing a DJ set at Cafe Mambo in Ibiza at sunset. And he wasn't even mixing. You know, he's a great producer. He was just playing tracks end to end. And by the end, everyone's dancing, everyone's cheering, everyone's having a good time. So I think what's happened is that as styles have moved on, the old styles haven't died, they've just stayed in their lane. And you can find people playing your music, and you can find people mixing the way you like to mix, and you can still do it that way yourself if you want to. But it doesn't mean it's going to be the dominant way this year or this season or whatever.
And I think that also it's where you're finding content as well, because if you're consuming content in short format content platforms, so for example TikTok and Instagram
Reels,
then the likelihood is that DJs trying to show things off there are going to do things quickly because they've got a short amount of time. But longer form platforms like Mixcloud, SoundCloud and YouTube, there's a lot of really great DJs mixing in the old way, doing long blends and taking their time over sets. I was telling Phil, there's a DJ that I say discovered, but she's been around a while, called DJ Minna, Minna. She's on the Defected Records platform. She's done a DJ set on there. She quite often plays vinyl and a mixture of vinyl and digital files. Old disco, classic house, mixed with new stuff. But like sometimes she does a mix, sometimes she just stops the track and lets the next one come in, but she lets the music breathe. So, and this is, you know, there are younger DJs who are latching onto this and understanding that that's powerful and understanding that there's great music out there that deserves to be played in full and not just cut up. So you can find those DJs still doing that stuff.
And also, just to flip it round before we spin the wheel again, to flip it round, there were always quick mixing moments. You know, they were often usually not done by the DJ. They were just done by the DJ putting a record on that deliberately had 7 or 8 current pop tracks in one 3-minute edit. They were always there. And I'll tell you this, I know this for certain because I was listening through a couple of thousand old 7-inch singles recently, and I found several examples of this. Several examples of literally a track you drop the needle on. One of them was Black Box. It was every Black Box who were late 80s.
The medleys, weren't they?
A medley of every Black Box song in one little mix. In fact, I think our friend Paul Duquesne did that one. He's kept quiet about that. They always existed, so quick mixing did exist. It's just it was the way it was achieved was done differently.
Yeah.
Typically, it's mobile DJs at the end of the night will try and cram in as many songs as quickly as they can just to get that final burst of energy. But of course, it's become a mixing style in its own right. But things move, things swing around. Steve, spin the wheel.
Okay. Let's go. You say stop.
Stop. Absolutely nothing. George misses absolutely nothing about back in the day. George, you're a forward-looking dude. Spin the wheel, Steve.
Although I do like Adam. Dunno. I'm 41 and DJing only for 2 years.
Perfect.
So he's got
Good lad.
No history to hold him back.
Good lad, Adam. Good lad.
Okay. Ray, the dark DJ booths where the DJ watched people dance and we were able to focus on the next song to keep the dance floor moving instead of focusing on our next dance move.
Yeah, this old look
a little bit of bitterness there,
but everyone looking at the DJ and the DJ being the centre of entertainment.
You know, this reminds me. Actually, I've been doing a little bit of nostalgic reflection recently because I used to work at Ministry of Sound, and which is a very famous nightclub in London. It opened in 1991. And I was actually one of the first 50 or 100 people to ever walk in that venue on the kind of preview opening night.
Were you one of the first 80s to get thrown out?
Quite possibly. I was a clubber there for years, and then I ended up getting a job there and I worked there for 10 years. But they've just landed a deal to make one of these kind of like coffee table books with all of the old artwork interspersed with like classic stories and stuff like that. And so I'm helping them with some sort of stories of the history of Ministry of Sound back in the day. So yeah, it'd be similar to this. Oh, you've got one for your own club. And I remembered that when Ministry of Sound, if you were to look online at clips of DJs playing at Ministry of Sound now, it looks like any other kind of big super club in the world where you've got this big impressive DJ booth raised above the crowd, you know, hands in the air moments. When that club was first built, the DJ booth was actually up a set of steps at the side of the main room, and there was a window literally no higher than that and about this wide. That was the only way the DJ could see down to the floor. It actually became a bit of a problem because they wanted to get the vibe a bit more. But the idea was that room was for dancing in, and your job was to provide the sound, the soundtrack for that room. It wasn't about this like staring at the DJ.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It did change, and it kind of needed to, but like that's kind of how it was back then. It was like
the most famous club probably in the world, the Hacienda.
I thought you were going to say Tangled then.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Their first DJ booth was on the stage at the side. So you know when you're stood at the side of a stage, right, waiting to go on, waiting to be someone people could see, the DJ was actually hidden from view of everyone. You had to be a singer or a performer on the stage to even know there was a DJ in the club.
Yep.
The times have changed. I
only went to the Hacienda once because I was from the south, but I only went there once, and I remember being there and hearing the Good Men Give It Up. Do you remember that? Do you remember that track? And I'd never heard of anything like this. It was the first weekend that came out, and I remember actually looking around and saying, "Who's playing?"
Yeah, yeah.
And I couldn't see where the DJ was to figure out who was playing. I wanted to go and find out what this tune was.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like, it wasn't like the DJ was on the, you know, in the booth there. It was hidden away, like you say.
So Defected Records has just put out a 25-year coffee table book, like Ministry of Sound.
Well, it's actually a coffee table
and
vinyl collection.
Yeah, and a vinyl collection alongside it.
Yeah.
And I noticed Fabric in London has done the same thing. So, you know, but the club I used to DJ at, the club I founded, is this one here called Tangled. And this is our book. We made a book. We were the first to do it. It was at this humble little club called Club Phoenix. And this is full of, look, there's the very first flyer here. And there's my name on it. Phil Serious Morse, as I used to call myself. Don't ask why. And here we go. Here's our early stuff, and here's our, you know. So we've got this nostalgia book as well. This is wonderful for me because I remember every single one of these flyers and designing it and so on. So nostalgia is a big thing, and clubbing has changed. And just to look through this now, I've not looked at this for a while. You know, this doesn't happen anymore. There were no phones at this point. There was smoking on the dance floor at this point. It's not like this anymore, and it does trigger nostalgia to sit and look through it and to think how it used to be. I think where I'm at with it though is I talk about it a little bit, don't I, Steve? My playing in Ibiza.
Is this perhaps at the biggest club in the world?
It was at Extravaganza, the biggest club in the world. You know, I think where I'm at with this is, you have to look forward, and I think, you know, we're gonna close in a minute and with a couple more comments maybe, and reminding you about something that we're doing next week. But I think it's more than okay to look back. It can give you a warm feeling. It can give you a sense of having done something worthwhile with your life if you've been doing this all your life like we have. I think the problem is when you look back more than you look forward, because to me, that's the definition of being old. If all you're doing is, if you're not looking forward to anything and you're just looking back, I think it starts to become a problem then. And one thing we've noticed looking through these comments and talking to our community is down the middle, and it's not through age. It's not the younger people on one side and the older on the other. Far from it. It's people who are embracing the way things are done now, but not letting go of stuff that matters to them. And it's people who are, you know, let's cut to the chase, moaning. And I think you have to be careful. I think that's what I'm saying, because otherwise, you know, if it really isn't giving you anything, why are you here? So that's the thing I'm getting from it. The best people are the ones who kind of like, they move, but they don't forget what came before, because it's a strength. It's a strength to have this experience, this musical knowledge, this connection to something that is maybe not there anymore. It's a strength.
Yeah, especially the musical knowledge and the you know, an older music coming back into fashion as well and coming back round again. You know, I think that if you have sort of lost the spark for DJing, or you're feeling like, oh, you know, the way it's done these days, it's just, you know, it's not like it was back then. I was saying to Phil earlier on when we were doing our training that, like, you can boil DJing down to playing to an audience of one. Like, you might just need to completely reset what DJing means to you and play for an audience of one, and have a guess who that audience is. It's not your partner or your kids or whatever, it's you, right? DJ for you. Play a DJ set which is going to get you dancing and you going, I love this DJ. And then you're going to dig through all the music that you love, all your old favourites, find modern stuff that you like that you can intersperse with that, without this pressure that somebody else has got to appreciate you. And I guarantee you will love that mix or that practice session.
Of course
that you
will,
do as a
because you've been true to yourself.
Yeah.
From it, for sure. So we're going to pick one more. I think we're going to give DJing on YouTube the final comment here, who says, I remember seeing Daft Punk for only 80 people. Now, this is about you being one of the first people in ministry. I've done it too, kind of thing. In an announced party a few months before they released Homework. And I also remember seeing David Guetta in the Brittany countryside with less than 400 people. I'm missing those times as well. So my one is not actually a clubbing one, but it is a right at the beginning. I remember seeing a band who went on to be quite big in the UK called the Stone Roses. I saw them twice. I got 30 pence change out of £5 for both gigs. The first one was £3 to get in, and there's about 40 people there. The second one was £1.70. It was a bit busier, and then they were massive. So you've got to be in it to win it. But
I feel very fortunate to have been around at that time when the whole scene was so vibrant and there were acts coming through that we never knew how big and influential
they were going to get. Yeah,
exactly. It's I'm very grateful to have been around at that time and to still remember some of it.
Well, on that, what we want you to remember is next week we have a free training series on this very YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, it's going to be on YouTube for copyright reasons and stuff. Well, we're going to talk about DJing the classic way on modern gear. And well, we're about halfway through making that training. We like to do things last minute here. So we've done about half of it, and we're very happy with it so far. This week we'll be finishing it off, giving it a little polish, and it's going to be ready for you guys next week. So keep an eye on the Facebook page for news of that if you're watching on Facebook, but you're going to have to go over to YouTube because that's where it's going to be.
If you want to sign up for it, there is a link that's been posted by our team already. It's djtips.co/basics. And you can go there, enter your email address, and we'll make sure that you get notified when that free training goes live.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, this has been a nostalgic bit of fun, hasn't it? It's been good to have Steve in the studio this week. Thank you very much for watching our show today. We're back again on Thursday when it will be just me. Not sure what we're doing then, but hey, that's how I like to roll. And see you next Tuesday for another Tuesday live lesson as well. Meanwhile, get good.
Get out there.
Make the moments.
See you soon.
Bye for now.